Our next question was sent in to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com from Rob O. And this has been a topic that a lot of people have sent in. Jim, what are your thoughts on the rumors that Edge could return at the Royal Rumble in the number 30 spot? And obviously, we've received a lot of questions about the potential that Edge will be returning to the ring several years now after he retired due to neck injuries.
Well, you know, I'm like Triple H. I wonder if Edge has any kids he doesn't know anything about.
Wow.
No, that's what I'm fucking with you. That's what got Triple H in trouble when he said, well, I want these guys to be able to enjoy their children and have a good quality of life. And that's when he fucking put his foot in his mouth about Paige. I think it would be great. I've always been a fan of Edge's as a person and as a talent. From his first tryout match, we've told that story. I thought he was tremendous. If he can come back in a limited fashion and do what he wants to do and what he feels comfortable doing, and I'm sure the people would love to see him. I wouldn't want him to take any serious risks because, you know, he and Beth apparently are very happy. That's a refreshing thing in the wrestling business. And they've got those, you know, nice looking little kids. And he lives in Asheville, which is a great place to live. Nice and easy, you know, so he's got, as an old friend of mine used to say, he's got a bird's nest on the ground with what he's got. But I'm sure he didn't like the way that he had to retire, and he wouldn't have been in the business if he didn't like doing it. So if he can come back and, you know, make some fucking big money and have some matches that he feels comfortable with, doesn't hurt himself, I think that'd be fucking great.
All right. Well,
I don't know what else to say.
How would you handle this sort of situation if you were the promoter or the booker, a guy who previously had an injury that doctors told him he had to stop wrestling because he could potentially lose his life if he takes a bad bump? The guy wants to get back into the ring. How cautious would you be if you were in charge?
Well, and you can always lose your life if you take a bad bump, depending on what kind of bump it is. I think it was more the prognosis was legitimately you could risk the same thing with Austin. You could risk some form of paralysis or losing, you know, some function in your limbs or whatever the fuck. It isn't like, you know, if he takes a body slam, he's going to die. That would be just insane. But after this many years, he's always been a great trainer. Is he in good shape? Has he got another doctor's opinion that says, no, this is, you know, because all the time, guys, look at Tommaso Ciampa. All the surgeries he's been through, and he comes back and he looks like that and he can perform like that. He's a fucking freak. Cena has always been quick to come back from injuries. Some people, you know, their bodies, whatever. The point is, if a qualified doctor says you should be able to do this with no lasting bad effects if you don't do this or don't fucking put stress on whatever, obviously don't get dropped on your head. I mean, we just talked about last week, Pampiro Firpo he had a perforated intestine in 1968 and had surgery while he was in Hawaii, and he wrestled for another 10 or 12 years, but he told his opponents, don't hit me in the stomach, I could die. And he modified his style. Freddie Blassie, some of the biggest money he ever drew was after he had a kidney taken out. But he modified things. I'm not saying Edge should be stupid and go out there and try to do everything that he's ever been able to do, but if he can go out and do enough things to where that the people say that was a good match, and boy, we love seeing Edge, and he's getting main event WWE money, and he feels comfortable with it. You know, there's obviously the one good thing about wrestling, you can't ever control everything. Things do happen. But you can obviously be the master of most of your own destiny in the ring with what you want to do and what you don't want to do. And he's not going to, I'm sure, ever do it. And this is all speculation anyway to begin with, but I'm sure he wouldn't be going back to a full schedule or whatever and just punish himself repeatedly. So that's the kind of guy, if you can get a few pay-per-view matches out of him over a few years and a few appearances or whatever, and he has fun and people like see it, nobody gets hurt, that's a fucking win-win.